This is Jordan with Tech Nerds, your nerdy tech channel. And last week we had talked about an Anchor small Bluetooth speaker. Well, today we're going to be doing the next speaker in the series of small Bluetooth speakers, and that is going to be with us today, the Deeyaple or Deeyaple, Deeyaple muy awesome speaker. Anyway, this little speaker is the next competitor in the line that'll eventually be part of the shootout against all the speakers together. And now this is a speaker that's fairly cheap. The Anchor speaker before cost us somewhere around the $25 mark, somewhere in that range. Now this new Deeyaple or Deeyaple speaker is about $18.90 something cents, about 19 bucks, a little under $20. But it is a fierce competitor with the Anchor speaker. Now I know that it doesn't have the brand recognition and it doesn't have, all the advertising that Anchor does. And Anchor makes some amazing products, but in its own right, this is a pretty amazing speaker. I've been using it for a while now, and I gotta say I'm pretty impressed with the sound that this thing puts out. And while we'll find out soon that the battery life isn't as good as the Anchor speaker, this thing can still hold its own pretty well. And like I say, the main thing that causes it to be a little bit less is obviously it's a lesser known brand. It's not Anchor. You don't have that name that carries with it. But man, this thing is a great little budget speaker, and we're going to test that out in a little bit. But let's go over a couple key points about this. I'm just going to say Deeyaple because it just sounds cool. Deeyaple speaker. It's awesome, Anyway, a couple main points. Like I say, $20 speaker that I bought off of Amazon. And this is a 15-watt speaker. I think before we were talking about the Anchor was a 5-watt speaker. So you can imagine that this thing puts out some pretty solid sound, pretty beefy sound. But because of that, it does suffer on battery life because you're using a little bit more wattage to push the sound. And it's some beefy sound, but you're not going to get the 20 hours of advertised battery life that Anchor got before. Instead, this speaker is advertised at about a 12-hour battery life. And that's at about 50% volume, just like we saw in the Anchor speaker the week before, or 2 weeks before. However, for the most part, it's going to get you through a day, for the most part. But most everyone tends to have USB-Cs, and if they need to charge something, they can do it. But still fairly decent battery life. This is just something that if you want to try and keep the battery life going a little bit longer, this is probably not quite going to be your speaker. However, 12 hours is still pretty solid. Now keep in mind, this does still have Bluetooth 5.3, just like the Anchor speaker did before. So pretty solid technology. You can still get pretty far away from the speaker and get a good solid sound from a distance away. Another thing is we have a 360-degree sound. Like before with the Anchor, you had a very singular direction sound. Now because you're seeing that this is a 360-degree setup with the speakers inside, you're going to be shooting out in all different directions. So this one is a little bit better if you want to have some friends hanging out. Say you're sitting around a fire or something like that at night and you want to listen to some music. This is something that's at least going to push out that omnidirectional sound so everyone around you can hear it just a little bit better. Or one thing I know that this will fit into is a cup holder. Obviously, depending on the size of cup holder, but for the most part, this thing fits in really well. If you ever like to go golfing, this is a great little speaker to do that because you can actually take this speaker and you can set it right inside of a cup holder inside of your golf cart. And I know a lot of people, especially me, if I ever go golfing, I like to be able to listen to some jams while I'm out playing golf, and this is a great little speaker in order to do that. This is still IP67 dust and waterproof, so you have up to a meter for up to 30 minutes submerged under the water. So this thing is still going to do really well for that. Now, as far as floating, that is one thing I have not tested with this thing, but we can probably test that in just a minute. I will be sure to get a bucket of water and then we will test it out and we'll let it float inside the water and you guys can see for yourself. This is also a Type-C connector, as you guys can see right here. So you have all the basic buttons as well. You got your power on, you got your volume up and down, and you've got your sync speaker if you want to do a stereo pair with these speakers. Yeah, like I say, it's a really great solid speaker for the most part. So we're going to go ahead and get into this, and I can show you a little bit more on details of everything. So we'll swap over to the overhead view. All right. So as we can see, here is our Deeyaple speaker, and this has more of that can looking shape to it. And so you have that woofer pushing up, and you're going to have the classic thing that everybody likes to try. Oh man, you know, put water in this thing, pour it, and see, you know, how well does it do and something like that. Great speaker to be able to test that out with, and we will test that out in just a little bit. But like I say, as we talked about before, we do have our power on button, we do have our volume up and down, and then we do have a stereo pair button so that we can pair the speakers together if we so choose. Now, you do have a rubber underside, which is really nice, so if you want to set this thing on a table, you don't really have to worry too much about this thing sliding around, so you have a really good grip for the most part, and I think that's going to do you just fine. Once again, we talked about this before, just like the Anchor speaker, you have this little loop. Not a whole lot of stretch to it. It's pretty sturdy for the most part, but this is going to be really great to be able to tie into a backpack, to a strap of some kind. Wherever you want to hang this thing is going to be a good spot to do that, just like we talked about. You want to hang it underneath a tent as well. For everyone to be able to listen to, this is going to be a great speaker in order to accomplish that. And having said that, we will do the water test with this thing, and we will see how it goes, okay? Now, we have ourselves a bucket of water. Not exactly pretty or anything, but sorry if this doesn't look the most appealing in the world, but it's just a bucket that I had, so we're going to go ahead and try it out. So let's go ahead and turn this guy on. Oh, shoot. Okay. All right, speaker is on. You can see you have a little bit of RGB lighting across the top, which is kind of nice. And I am already hooked up to the speaker right now. So let me go ahead and pull up some new music. This is actually from an app called MyTunes, which is pretty cool. So I used AI to be able to create some different background music for myself, or for this channel especially. And I think that this is hopefully going to help out with being able to do some stuff like that. So there you go. A little bit better focus. All right. So having said that, we'll go ahead and do let me push this off to the side. We're going to go ahead and do some sound tests with it, and we'll go from there. So first we'll start with a little bit of rock music. How about that? All right. Now this thing is at currently 50% volume. Oh, product placement. Got to get it right. There you go. There's 50% volume. So you guys can see that woofer is moving, which is pretty cool. I don't know, there's something about the look of it which is always cool to look at. We'll go ahead and bring that back, and we'll bring it up to about 75% volume. Once again, I highly encourage you to have headphones on if you want to, if you really want the best sound. All right, we'll go up 100% volume. That woofer is really moving. Not bad, not bad. All right, we will swap over to some, let me see, we have this one, which is be more like a pop. Oh no, sorry, not that one. There we go. All right, here's some like pop music. Once again, we'll start out at 50% volume. There we go. Thereabouts. Go ahead and bring that up to a little bit higher volume. About 75% volume. Go to 100% volume. All right, so pretty good sound right there. And then finally, we will go ahead and do a little bit of, hold on, we were gonna do Late Night Drift, there we go. No, sorry, we're gonna do Good Mornings, here we go. And this is 50%, and this is a little bit more like lo-fi type of music. And 50% volume. All right, we're going to go up to 75% volume. That woofer's really moving. And finally, we'll go up to 100% volume. Pretty good sound, pretty good sound. And since we're on a song that has a little bit of the beats going on, we'll go ahead and scroll that back just a little bit. And I'm going to put a little bit of water on it because that's the thing that always makes this stuff look cool. Okay, there we go. All right. That way you guys can really see how much that woofer is hitting. Sometimes it doesn't do it justice with the overhead view. Let me go ahead and throw this back in here. Sorry, we'll clean that up in just a minute. But what we also wanted to be able to test was how well is this thing going to do with water. So I'm going to bring this bucket of water over, and then we're going to throw this thing in there and see how well it survives. And then if you guys like this, then we'll add that to all the future videos as well, so we can test out water resistance and you guys can see it in person. Here we go. As you guys can see, that woofer is like really kicking.
Tip tap goes the rhythm in my chest. Clock keeps ticking, but I couldn't care less. Sunshine pouring through the window's crest. Chasing sunbeams, running free. Life feels light, just let it be. Chasing sunbeams, that's the key.
All right. As you guys can see, this thing is a solid little speaker, especially for the size, the portability, has some really great sound. The only thing obviously is that it's not going to be able to have the battery life that the Anker speaker that we talked about before would, but this thing really, really bumps. So if you want something that has awesome sound quality for a really small package, this is also just a great speaker to be able to pick up. I think you'd be well served in picking it up, and if $25 is a little bit above the budget, maybe $18 to $20 is more your range, then this thing might be able to fit the bill for you. And if you really like the RGB lighting and all the little small stuff, and you prefer to have something that fits into a cup holder, something like that, then this might be the speaker for you. So having said that, we'll jump back up. So this has been the Deeyaple or Deeyaple speaker. But if I'm saying that wrong, please let me know in the comments, and I will try to get the pronunciation right. But man, this is a great little speaker. I would highly recommend it to just about anybody. And if you have anything else that you want to be able to see, if you like the little water test that we did, by all means, we can add it into other tests, and you guys can see that for yourself. But until then, this has been Jordan with Tech Nerds. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay nerdy.